Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 530 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jay Kohn. Janelle Slade is off this week. In Missoula, a startling discovery opens a possible murder and missing persons investigation. A cleaning crew discovers a box with human bones inside, bones that are believed to be of 3 children, all under the age of 10. Missoula police have opened an investigation after a search of a Missoula home in late September uncovered possible human remains. Authorities today tell MTN they have a person of interest they want to talk to, but stress that person is not a suspect.
Loose teeth. There was what appeared to be a bone from a lower jaw, and others that were not as specifically described, but I would call them pieces of bone. There was also rocks in this box.
A University of Montana anthropology professor confirms the remains are of 3 children, the oldest between 6 to 10 years old, the youngest 2 to 4 years old at the time of death. Now, the bones containing the box containing the remains was discovered by a cleaning crew that had been hired to clean up a rental property in Missoula after its tenant had been evicted. After a search warrant was obtained, follow-up investigations revealed no evidence of a crime occurring at that property. The children's identities and the cause and manner of their deaths is now under investigation.
We are working with the National Center for Missing and Endangered Children and other missing person databases to see if that's a possibility. And we don't know that this particular case is isolated to the city of Missoula. We don't know where the bones came from, or if maybe they were transported from one area to another and ended up here.
So obviously that investigation ongoing. It is unknown how old the bones might be or how long they've been there. All of the Billings police officers involved in a series of shootings over the past 2 months have now been cleared to return to duty. Police Lieutenant Neil Lawrence tells us the 13 officers involved in those 3 shootings are either back on the job or will be later this week. Back in October, 2 officers shot a man at the Lazy KT Motel in October after he allegedly swung a shotgun in their direction. That Billings man was injured but did survive. Then in November, 8 officers fired shots during a standoff at Big Bear Sports Center in West Billings, killing the suspect. And 5 officers who killed a suspect after a pursuit ended on the Billings South Side last month have also been cleared. Coroner's inquests for each of those shootings still being scheduled. Photos of a crook stealing an ATM machine from a Billings hotel have now been shared over 1,000 times online. The Billings police confirmed they're investigating the theft. Check it out. These photos were shared on Facebook by the manager of the La Quinta Inn Suites on South Frontage Road. Billings police say hotel employees reported the theft Saturday night. At the time of the report, the employees did not know how the ATM had been stolen, but they did notice it was missing. The manager reviewed surveillance footage which shows a bald white man hoisting the machine out of the hotel. We're told investigators plan to meet with the hotel manager this Friday to complete their report. It is unclear how much, if any, money was in the ATM at the time. As yet, no arrests have been made. A bittersweet day at Empire Steel here in Billings today as that business auctioned off all of its inventory and equipment after deciding to close its doors after 54 years. The auction, which started around 9 this morning, brought in people from all across the country interested in the specialized equipment. Owners Tom and Bill Breen decided to retire after nearly 6 decades in business, but they opted for a public auction after they were unable to find a buyer for the company. Today's auction described as an everything must-go event, from cleaning supplies to vehicles to heavy machinery.
1,000 items, from small stuff to very large stuff. We've got the overhead cranes that we've been selling that are up on top of the ceiling. So we're pretty well selling everything in the whole building. You know, it's not your hobby guy or anything. It is definitely the tank manufacturers. And so they're just going to go to another manufacturers that where there's competition.
And the 6.5-acre piece of property that Empire Steel occupies is also up for sale. As debate over the future of Obamacare continues to simmer in Washington, one of its biggest and most expensive elements is alive and well here in Montana. We're talking about Medicaid expansion. That expansion provides government-funded health coverage to tens of thousands of low-income Montanans and also brings in hundreds of millions of federal dollars to our state. Tonight, MTN's Mike Dennison begins an in-depth look at who's benefiting from this program and its prospects for the future.
Ian Ballard left his job in Kansas City 2 years ago to come home to Kalispell to take care of some family business. He also had shooting pains through his legs and back, and at times could barely walk, let alone work, as he had been in the restaurant business. But then Ballard was able to get covered by Montana's expanded Medicaid and find out he had necrosis, which had severely degenerated both of his hip joints. Within months, he was able to get both hips replaced.
I didn't know that I had both hips gone and that I could lose the ability to walk. I would have had no idea had it not been for getting the coverage and then being able to get looked at and get worked on and everything that's come from it.
Ballard is one of 86,000 Montanans newly covered under Medicaid, authorized by the Montana legislature in 2015 and funded primarily by the federal government under the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare. The expansion covers adults earning up to 138% of the federal poverty level, or about $16,600 a year for a single person, although 3/4 of the Montanans signed up so far earn less than half that amount. About $2 billion will be spent on health services covered by Medicaid Expansion in Montana in its first 40 months, with most of the money coming from the federal government.
But it's been a great benefit to the entire state of Montana. Medicaid Expansion has brought in $800 million of health care services in 18 months. That's almost $1 billion in treating the health of Montanans.
Nearly half that money is going to hospitals and clinics, but it's also paying for mental health and substance abuse treatment, dental care, prescription drugs, and doctor visits. President Trump and Republicans in Congress have sought to repeal the expansion and instead give a lesser pot of money to the states for Medicaid and let them decide what to do with it. Some GOP state lawmakers in Montana also worry whether the state can afford to keep up its share of the current Medicaid expansion.
There's no doubt about it. It has helped many individuals across the state, but it really comes down to the revenues we have available. So if we're going to fund this to the extent we need to, what other programs are we going to have to cut back in the state?
Yet for patients seeing the benefit, the expansion has been more than worth it.
I paid insurance for the better part of 2 decades and barely used any of it. I never expected anything back from it. So now I just find myself in a situation where it does pay me back. It's going to get me back up on my feet and able to get back into the workforce and then give back.
Reporting from Kalispell, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
All right, thank you very much, Mike. The National Park Service will cut most of its free entrance days next year. Until now, the Park Service offered free days as a way to promote the parks, encourage outdoor recreation, and say thank you to the traveling public. This year, there were 10 fee-free days at the parks that charge entrance fees, such as Glacier and Yellowstone. In 2016, there were 16 free days when the entrance fees were waived. That's all going to change next year. This week, the National Park Service unveils that there will be only 4 free days in 2018. Those days will be Martin Luther King Jr. Day in January, the first day of National Park Week in April, National Public Lands Day in September, and Veterans Day in November. Now, this news comes as the Park Service considers increasing fees during the busy summer travel season, up to as much as $70 per car for a short-term pass. Still ahead on tonight's 5:30 News, Montana beef will soon be available in China. Coming up, we'll talk to a rancher who was in China when that big announcement was made.
Hi everybody, Scott Breen here in Las Vegas at the National Finals Rodeo. Coming up just a few minutes from now in sports, we hear from Helena steer wrestler Ty Erickson, #1 in the world and surging at just the right time.
And coming up in weather, not a bad day today, a little bit cooler than yesterday, but we did get up to 46 degrees. Tomorrow will continue to be in the 40s, but we could see 50s pop up by Friday. We'll tell you more about that in a few more minutes.
You're watching MTN News with Jay Kohn and Janelle Slade. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Breen.